Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. You know, I realize I always say welcome back, and maybe this is your first time here and you're like, why are you telling me welcome back? I've never seen you before. But welcome if you're new, welcome back if you're not new. I am going to be sharing today, I just wanted to share some of the summer activities that I have gathered and found for my littlest ones to do. I just was looking for some things to entertain them on days when it's either too hot to play outside or too rainy to be outside. I mean, even though it's summer, the weather isn't always conducive to just being out playing and stuff like that. Plus, I just was looking for some sort of brain stimulating type things, and anyways, we'll get into it. But I found some really good things, and I just figured I would share them with y'all because one of them I really like, and I don't know if it's still 50% off, but it was 50% off when I grabbed it. I will of course leave everything linked down below. I'm sorry if you can hear that beeping. We're having some concrete poured outside, which is why I'm filming this in here and not out by my office area, cabin area. Dogs, all kinds of noises are likely to happen right now. My husband just loaded up the kids in the car, some of them, most of them, to go run to recycling and stuff so that I could have a minute to film this without chaos. So this was just something that I saw and thought, my youngest is about 21 months old, and so he's almost 2 obviously, but I also thought that my twins might like this. I've never actually had something like this for my kids before, so I didn't really know whose age it would appeal to most, but it's a fine motor skills type thing. So you just take the little pen, grab the magnet, and move it along the track. It's hard to do, you need to lay it flat, so it's hard to do and show you. But then you also have these little obstacles in the way where you need to turn this to be able to allow the ball to move into different areas, and there's obviously like numbers to kind of take you through the path. This has been fun. It's a great, just sit your kiddo at the counter, at the kitchen counter, whatever. What is that? Oh, that's the cement truck, sorry about that. Set them at the kitchen counter while you're cooking, while you're doing dishes, while you're folding laundry, whatever, and this is a great little distraction activity, and it works on fine motor skills, which is always a plus. So this is the item I was telling y'all about that was 50% off. So it kind of looks like a tablet, like a kid's tablet from Amazon or whatever, but it's actually just it's like a LCD screen drawing pad, I think is what it's called. I saved the box. I thought I saved the box, and now I don't know where it is. But it comes with this little pen. You've got a little lock down here where you can make this button, which is the erase button, active or not. So basically your kids can use this little pen to draw pictures, and it's kind of got that like multicolor, I don't know if you can see that very well. So they can just draw little pictures, you know, whatever. They can practice writing their names, something BB8. We're not teaching him, his name is BB8, don't worry. And then this little button down here, you just push and it erases it. And you can put the lock on so that your kids don't accidentally, if they spend all this time creating this masterpiece and then accidentally delete it. That could be an afternoon of crying instead of an afternoon of fun. So it does have a lock, so you can make it so that they can't just hit this button and erase it, and they need your help to erase it. But it's just great to practice, again, handwriting, drawing. It's just a fun little thing. I believe it was $19.99, and then the pink ones were 50% off, so it was only 10 bucks. I think it's great. It comes with an extra battery. It's perfect for the car, for an airplane, just for hanging out at home. I mean, there's so many uses for this little drawing tablet, especially if you don't really want to give your kids devices yet, or maybe it's just you want to limit their device time, but you want something that's easy to take along with you for coloring, drawing. I just think this is great. The other thing I was on the hunt for were some sensory type toys. If you have kids who are very sensory seeking, then you know what a challenge it can be to keep them from injuring themselves or tearing apart your house while they're trying to sort of meet their sensory needs for the day, especially if the weather's bad, like I said, and they can't get outside to run around and just kind of like, then they need little things that they can do. So I was kind of on the hunt for some different sensory type things, and I found these textured, they're by Bunmo, textured stretchy strings. So there's lots of different colors and shapes that these come in. Neon colors, and not shapes, colors, neon colors, but then textures. So especially, like I said, if you've got a sensory seeking kid, you've got lots of different textures and stuff here to play with. And they're just this like very slinky type thing. It's things like this that I look at and I'm like, I'm not sure what exactly are they going to do with it. you would be shocked at the things that kids will find. And it's mostly just like a fidgety thing. So especially if you do need them to sit still, if you are in a doctor's office waiting room or something like that, again, this is just something they can kind of hold and stretch and mess with and play with. And they seem pretty... Hey, they've been here for 4 hours. You're just now noticing? They've been here for 4 hours. Okay, speaking of sensory, these are like, I don't even know how to describe these, like pop-it things. My kids go nuts if I open a package and it has the little, that stuff, the packing, not packing peanuts, but the packing paper with the poppy things on it, you know, they go crazy wanting to play those and pop it. So again, this is just something that they can sit there and hold and just, honestly, I kind of get it. I get it. I could do this for a while, especially when you're stressed. And it's made of like a silicone, so it's totally bendable, durable. This one is, they have lots of different like shapes, colors, things like that. This is square, purple, green, yellow pack. So this is fantastic to hand like Benji and the twins, and just in their car seats if they're just like bored, you know, just do something to do and fidget with. Those I think are fantastic. I also got this pack of the dot markers. This isn't the Do-A-Dot brand. This is Dauber Dogs. Probably some kind of off-brand, but they were fairly affordable, and I'm hoping that the lids will stay and we won't lose these. That's what happened to our last set of Do-A-Dots, is the lids got lost and then the markers dried out. So Do-A-Dots, my kids love them. It's pretty much the only way that I allow my toddlers and little ones to paint. We have the water, I'll link that too. I did a toddler video last year, and they have like this big mat that you just use water and it kind of transforms into color on the mat. I feel like words aren't working well for me today. Like my mouth isn't moving properly, words aren't working properly, maybe because it's a Monday, I don't know, but sorry about that. Anyways, the water mat thing, I've talked about it many times before. I'll link that as well because I love it. But Do-A-Dots, Dauber Dogs, whatever. That's you, doofus. Next, we have this Melissa and Doug Scissor Skills Games and Shapes activity pad. Comes with their own little pair of safety kids scissors, and it's just exactly what it sounds like. Different activities and stuff for them to practice their scissoring skills, their cutting skills, which is fantastic. They need to practice that anyways, but it is a great distraction. Again, kids just love to tear stuff up and cut stuff up, so give them something intentional instead of your curtains or an important piece of paper or whatever. This is for ages 4+, so obviously BB8 is not going to be using this, but the twins will. And then speaking of the twins, I think I've mentioned this to y'all before, but they, more than any of my other kids, are super interested in school and in doing schoolwork. I think probably because they just see their older siblings doing it, and they kind of in their minds just assume that they should be, or I don't really know, because the other kids weren't quite like that. They just weren't all that interested, but the twins are. So I've said this many times before as well, but we just kind of go with our kids' lead. So if they are interested, I'm not gonna like deprive them and say, no, I'm not going to let you do schoolwork. I'm not going to, you know, teach you anything. If they have an interest at, you know, 3 years old, I'm fine with giving them things to do, but it's certainly not a requirement. I'm not forcing them to do any kind of schoolwork or anything like that. But I did see that The Good and the Beautiful released these doodles and pre-writing for littles. I think this is fantastic and will be so perfect. Handwriting is one of the things that we still use from Good and Beautiful, so I love this for like a preschool age, just following lines and shapes and just kind of getting that practice of how to move the pen around to make, or pencil around to make different shapes, you know, things with points and different angles and curved edges and stuff like that. And obviously the difficulty progresses as you go, but I thought this was a fantastic little option. So I got one for Ivy and one for Millie Moo. So they can do their own little handwriting and their own little schoolwork when they want to do that. And then I grabbed a few of these from The Good and the Beautiful as well, the bird watching notebooks. This was a new product from them. Y'all know, if you watch any of our vlogs or anything, that I am super obsessed with bird watching, with watching the birds in our yard. Sorry, the dog is trying to eat my pen down there. We have so many different types of birds in our yard, and I think because The barn cat is River. He's older and she is older, and she stays pretty much over in the tack room barn area. And she doesn't really chase birds. She doesn't really go after birds. I think she's a little old and tired. She'll get the mice, but the birds are a young girl's game, you know, a young cat's game. So the birds in our yard, I feel very secure to bird it up, live the bird life. We have a ton of birds around here, a ton of them, tons of nests. So I love seeing the different varieties. I've become fascinated by them. I'm convinced that they like me too. I'm convinced that they know that I am not a danger to them, and they allow their fledglings to hop around and be around me. And just like last week, it's a long story, which I won't go into, but I ended up helping a fledgling that got stuck and away from its mom. And I had to kind of move it because it was right in the middle of a thing that we were doing where it could have gotten really, really hurt. And I just couldn't wait for mom to try to come find it and take it. So I saw where she was over in the trees. And so I just took this little bird and carried it over and put it down on the grass. And she came right over, and she didn't like fly away from me or seem panicked or anything. She just, you know, came around and got the little baby and, you know, was like, come on, baby. And they hopped around the yard and stuff and back to their nest. I have a good relationship with the birds in my yard, as dumb as that sounds. But so this is the bird watching notebook, and I just grabbed a few of these. I thought I might sort of pair my kids off for this with older and younger to kind of do this together. But it's just essentially a bird watching notebook. It's got some different activities, different places for them to write down birds that they see, a bird watching bingo game, different bird tracks, identifying feathers. It teaches them how to make a home bird feeder, how to use binoculars, and then it kind of goes into more details if you've got kind of older kids, if they're in that higher grade, you know, sort of that maybe 5 through 8 grade level, getting into more of the details of the beak and different parts of the bird, the feet, structures, all of that. And then they can do a state bird study, a national bird study, birds of prey. Ooh, can I do a hawk? Hawks are my favorite. And just different bird identification. So I think this is a really great, fun summer, you know, project, because it really doesn't matter if you live, you know, in the city, you've got birds. You know, you might only see a few pigeons and something else, but no matter where you live, there's going to be birds, places for you to go see birds that just get you outside, going to local parks. And that's one of the things that I'm looking forward to with this, is that we have lots of different birds in our yard, but I know that there are birds that live in our area that we never see here. So I'm excited to try some of our local trails and parks to see what other kinds of birds we can find besides the ones that we're used to looking at here. So I thought that was a great pickup from The Good and the Beautiful. Maybe this is of interest to you, maybe it's not. I just picked this up for my older kids. It's checkbook math. It's just part of their, this isn't really part of the summer activities thing. It's part of their summer homeschool stuff. Sorry, I feel like I'm gonna sneeze. It's right there. Blah, blah, blah. But it's in my pile of stuff because it just came, so I figured I would share that. But it's practical activities to teach how to use a checkbook. I don't know, maybe the checkbooks will be completely obsolete by the time my kids actually would need them and use them. I feel like we're not far away from that. But we're gonna teach them anyways, you know? We're gonna teach them the old school. I think I've got an old rotary phone. Maybe I should teach them how to use a rotary phone too. I used to have, when I was like 16, my mom had this like princess style rotary phone that she let me have, and it was in my room and I loved it. And I'd dial my friends. Zzz, zzz. Take a long time. These two things are honorable mentions because I've mentioned them before in previous videos, but I do feel as though I like them enough that they are worth mentioning again in case you never saw those videos. This is a great thing to work on with your kids during the summer. Stick it in a morning basket. Just stick it, I don't know, by your cup of coffee when you're just sitting down hanging out in the mornings. But it's Coping Skills for Kids workbook. Over 75 coping strategies to help kids deal with stress, anxiety, and anger. I realize that sounds like, well, gee, that's intense. But I think it's just so helpful for all kids because we all have those emotions. We all have stressful emotions. We all feel anxious at times, and we certainly all feel anger. So teaching our kids how to manage those emotions, how to deal with them productively, how to allow themselves to feel them, but not take them out on other people, I think is just skills that, quite honestly, a lot of people could use. So yes, I will link this as well. It's been fantastic. And then this is something that I've shared again for a number of years that we like to utilize with our kids. It's just the 3-minute gratitude journal. And basically that's exactly what it is. I'll flip to the back here. So it just has these little single, they fill out 1 page a day where they just kind of put the date, keeps good practice of that, what day of the week it is, what's the date, the month, the day, the year, 3 things they're thankful for. This person brought me joy today, I feel, and then it's got some little facial expressions for them to choose from. And what was the best part about your day? Draw or write about it. So your kids don't even really have to be old enough to write themselves to use this, something you could do with them. But I think it encourages kids that when they lay their heads down on their pillows at night, or when they wake up in the morning, they could do it, I suppose, from the day before. But to think about things that they're grateful for, to, kind of focus on gratitude. And I think that's, again, fantastic for kids and adults alike. But I just have always felt like this was very much worth it. It's just a few dollars, if I remember correctly. I want to say it's like $5 or something. And it's just a great habit to get into. And maybe, as you grow, you might not be the one, you might not be sitting there writing it down, but maybe you can get yourself in the habit of at least just thinking about those things, All right, that is it, guys. I hope that this gives you just a few ideas, just some things that I've picked up to try with my kids. It's certainly not an exhaustive list, but it's just a few things that we're adding to the repertoire of activities for rainy days, hot days, or just days when they're going bananas, or if you're waiting at the doctor's office or in the car a lot, just lots of different options. So I've got a few minutes to myself now, so I'm gonna go make myself another cup of coffee, and I might just pick up one of my summer reading books that I picked up and sit down and read for a few minutes before they come home. We'll see. Probably not. I'll probably find something else to do along the way. Something to clean, something to pick up, something else to do along the way. That's it for today's video, y'all. I will see you guys again very soon. Bye.
I know it's been a while since we've kissed, or even since I've seen you. And once again we went too long without talking. So I